The Wild West had a way of swallowing secrets whole, burying past lives beneath the endless sprawl of dust and sky. And so it was for the woman who arrived in Willow Bend one summer afternoon, stepping down from a weather-beaten stagecoach with nothing but a single satchel and eyes that carried centuries of sorrow. She called herself Anna. To the townsfolk, she was simply another weary soul from the East, a quiet lady who found work teaching children their letters in the one-room schoolhouse. But Anna carried within her a truth that could not be spoken, not here, not anywhere. She was not Anna. She was Princess Annalise of the House of Marburg, the runaway heir to a crumbling European throne. She had fled across an ocean, leaving behind a gilded cage of silk and diamonds, a palace echoing with betrayal, and a marriage arranged to a man she could never love. In the New World, she had traded her crown for anonymity, her jewels for dust. Yet she found a freedom in it, a life stripped bare of courtly masks. It was there, in the shadow of cottonwoods and under skies so wide they seemed to swallow the earth, that she met him. Jacob Hayes was a cowboy with hands calloused from the rope, shoulders bronzed by the sun, and eyes steady as the horizon. He worked cattle for a modest ranch, earning just enough to keep boots on his feet and his mother in medicine. There was no grandeur about him, no jewels, no titles, no fortune. Yet when Anna first saw him ride across the prairie, his laughter carried by the wind, she felt something she had never known in marble palaces: life. Their paths crossed often. At the market, where Jacob tipped his hat with shy respect. At the schoolhouse, where he repaired a broken fence. And finally, one evening by the river, where the fading sun lit her auburn hair in fire and gold, Jacob found the courage to speak. In him, Anna found not just kindness, but a devotion untainted by greed or power. And in her, Jacob discovered a mystery, this schoolteacher who spoke with such grace, whose hands bore no calluses, whose gaze sometimes carried the heaviness of faraway worlds. Love grew quietly, like roots in hidden soil. Their stolen moments became the rhythm of her days, Jacob's rough hand brushing hers as they walked the riverbank, his laughter breaking her silences, his presence filling the hollow spaces of her heart. But freedom was fragile, and secrets never lay buried long. Rumors began to stir. A stranger had arrived in Willow Bend, a man with polished boots and eyes too sharp for cattle country. He asked questions not about Anna the schoolteacher, but about Princess Annalise of Marburg, who had vanished months before her arranged coronation. His pockets jingled with gold, for he was a bounty hunter, and a royal reward awaited the man who returned the missing princess. Jacob noticed the stranger before Anna did, his instincts sharpened by prairie dangers. He saw the way the man lingered by the saloon, how his gaze followed Anna as she walked to the schoolhouse. And though Jacob did not yet know her truth, he knew enough to sense a storm was coming. One evening, as Anna sat by the window of her rented room, watching the horizon swallow the sun, she felt it too. The life she had built, the love she had found, was as fragile as glass in the hands of fate. And though she longed to tell Jacob everything, fear held her tongue. For if he knew who she truly was, if he knew the blood that flowed in her veins, would he still see her as the woman he loved, or as the crown she had abandoned? The prairie wind rattled the shutters, whispering the same truth she tried to ignore. Her past was riding closer, and soon the crown she had fled would rise again from the dust. The truth could only stay buried for so long. Jacob first sensed it the night he found Anna weeping by the river, her locket open in her trembling hands. Inside was not a lover's token, nor a family photograph, but a crest, delicate, gilded, unmistakably royal. In that moment, the wall she had built crumbled, and the woman he loved was no longer Anna, the schoolteacher, but Annalise, Princess of Marburg. Her confession spilled like floodwater. The palace walls, the arranged marriage, the crown she had never wanted, her flight across the ocean, her hope to vanish into dust and live as no more than a woman in love. And now, the bounty hunters who hunted her like prey, lured by riches and glory. Jacob listened, his heart torn between awe and dread. He loved her, he always would. But how could a cowboy, whose hands smelled of saddle leather and dust, ever hold the heart of a woman born to rule? Their stolen world shattered when the bounty hunters struck. At dawn, the riders thundered across the prairie, rifles glinting, their leader calling her name not as Anna, but as Princess. The townsfolk gasped, scandal breaking like wildfire. Their schoolteacher was no humble woman, but royalty in exile. The chase began. Jacob and Annalisa fled across the open plains, dust rising in desperate clouds behind their horses. Bullets sang past their ears. Yet Jacob rode with unshakable resolve, his body a shield against the fury chasing them. At last, on a ridge overlooking the endless prairie, they dismounted. Breathless with the enemy close behind, Annalisa turned to him, tears burning her cheeks. "If they take me," she whispered, "they will drag me back to the cage I fled. Better to die free in your arms than to live a queen in chains." But Jacob, eyes blazing, refused such an ending. He stood, rifle steady, a lone cowboy against a band of bounty hunters. The fight was hopeless, yet his love was fierce enough to hold back the tide. Gunfire cracked, smoke filled the air, and in the chaos, Annalisa's courage burned brighter than any crown. When the dust settled, the bounty hunters fled empty-handed, beaten back by a man with nothing but dust and devotion. Yet Annalise knew the truth. Others would come. The crown would never rest until it dragged her back. So under a blood-red sunset, she made her choice. She cast the locket into the dust, her crown shattered in symbol if not in name. Beside Jacob, she turned her back on Marburg forever. Together they rode into the horizon, not princess and cowboy, but two souls bound in scandal, defiance, and love stronger than destiny. And though history would never tell their names, the prairie kept their secret, a crown lost in the dust and a love that no empire could claim.